Hi everybody, this is a video about potential fraudulent activity that I came across on Chrono24 and actually debated for quite a while whether or not I should record this video, but ultimately I came to the conclusion that it's only going to be beneficial to hopefully at least a few people and that it's not really going to hurt anybody. There will certainly be some people that will tell you that this is nothing that they didn't know, no news so to speak. But I would assume that a lot of people would be quite surprised that these things actually are happening, and even more so that they are happening to the extent that we'll see in just a couple of minutes. Now, first and foremost, these are obviously allegations only. Anybody that's in any sort of form associated with anything that you'll see as part of this video is innocent until proven guilty. Now, with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get right into it. I'm going to try to make it as short as possible, but it's going to need some context. And ultimately, in the end, I think it's going to be worth it and could be quite interesting, so bear with me. This is actually also somewhat connected to two other videos that I already uploaded to YouTube. Link to both of those videos in the description, and is about my hunt and ultimately the acquisition of an unworn / new old stock 16710 GMT-Master II. When I first started out and actually had to buy more than one watch along the way until I got the watch in the condition that I wanted. But when I first started out, I was happy enough, I thought, with just an unworn piece. Wouldn't have to necessarily be a new old stock piece. So I found this one watch in Latin America, this one right here, at quite a good price. It was sold as new old stock, but it wasn't stickered anymore. It had only one sticker on the back, the green sticker, but the reference number was already worn off. But I couldn't really care less because all I wanted was an unworn, unpolished piece. And when I got the watch, unfortunately, there were some scratches on the case. Depending on the lighting condition, you see it here, they were more severe or even barely noticeable. But this to me is a result of a light polish, I guess, so wouldn't qualify certainly as an unworn piece. You even see some dings in the case. So to me, it was immediately actually clear that I wouldn't be happy with this one. Even if you look at it from the top, you could also see that the beveling or the chamfers are not as sharp as they should be for an unworn piece. So it was clear that I'm not going to keep that watch, so I went on Chrono24 and I found an ad from this particular seller that you see here. Now, mind you, this is not the ad that I saw back then, but the seller sold a watch that was very similar to the one that you're seeing here. It was a 16710 Pepsi. He sold it as a new old stock piece as well. It wasn't stickered completely. It only had the green sticker on the back. Funny enough, the reference was worn off as well, and there was a green sticker on see-through sticker on top of that green sticker as well, and then there was one red sticker on the bracelet. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is he sold a new old stock piece. I called him and he actually himself offered to buy my watch. So basically offered a trade-in, me sending him my watch from Latin America, pay a little bit of extra money, and then he would sell me his new old stock watch. So I was kind of surprised, but okay, I went for it. Wasn't the baddest deal. I got the watch, showed it to a guy that used to be a watchmaker for Rolex, and that guy actually also collects vintage watches himself. And we looked at it, chamfering, everything looked nice. So we sized it, I took it home, and then once I had the watch at my place, under some specific lighting conditions, you can see it here, only then you would see on the upper right part of the case, so this part right here, we see some light marks, and they are too, I would say, symmetric to me in order to qualify as marks resulting from just cleaning the watch. So to me, this is clear that this is a light polish. Funny enough, you didn't have any marks on the lower part of the right side of the case, and you also didn't have any marks on the left side of the case. So that was kind of weird. I called up the guy and asked him about this. Nice ending here. And he told me, yeah, actually he didn't even notice those scratches. And any other seller I would believe, but that guy was very, very proficient, and he knew the ins and outs of those references. He even educated me on how chamfers should look like on different serials, because that changed along the way. He even claimed that he had access to people polishing those watches, and those people would actually do a better job than Rolex, because I've heard before from other people that if you sent those pre-ceramic watches to Rolex, to RSC, they will come back and not always look as you want them to look. So he should definitely have seen those marks. But you know what? I somewhat believed the guy, and I left it at that. A couple weeks later, actually, I just asked the guy out of curiosity. By the way, what happened to the watch that I sold you? The watch from Latin America that I showed you just a minute ago. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I gave that to a buddy of mine. He's actually quite happy with it." And what's also funny is when I actually asked the guy, why he would enter that deal. It was quite an attractive deal. He was like, "Yeah, well, I was able to purchase my watch at quite an attractive price as well." So I was happy enough, and that was that. At the same time, I still had my saved search on Chrono24 going on. So every time a ad was published on Chrono24 that would meet my criteria for a new old stock 16710, I would get an email. And so I got an email, and out of curiosity, I clicked on it. And then this watch and this ad here came up, as I told you, from the same seller who bought my watch from Latin America and sold me his Pepsi. So I looked at the watch, I looked at the ad. It says new old stock in stickers, should probably say stickered, F serial, full package. And I can't click on those pictures here because, mind you, those ads here that I'm going to show you, they are no longer live. So I locally saved them on my local hard drive. But I basically also saved all the pictures. So I'm going to show you the pictures of this particular ad. Click through the pictures, and really, really nice watch. This is exactly how mine came, with one red sticker on the back, on the clasp, on the bracelet. His watch, however, was fully stickered, right? And the one he sold me wasn't fully stickered. So all good. And then I saw this and was like, whoa. So I'm going to flip through the remaining pictures. Now keep this picture here in mind. We're going to go back to that picture in just a second. So these are all the pictures. Now the picture that I told you to keep in mind was this exact picture here. That's the same picture. What I did is there's a slight, some markups on it. So I want you to focus on three things. First of all, you see it says Your Rolex Oyster. So that's an English version of that booklet. That's fine. You see the GMT-Master booklet is somewhat damaged, torn here. And then you see the warranty certificate. Now, what I'm going to show you next is my watch from Latin America that I traded in with that guy. And you can see here also the booklet is damaged, and you see the rest of the set. Now, you can see here a second picture of my set. I had to black out some of the information of the original invoice. You again see here the damaged booklet, and you see another booklet that says Su Rolex. Now, I don't speak Spanish, but this is a Spanish booklet, which makes sense because I bought this watch from Latin America. So what the guy did, and this is completely fair game, he took my booklet, which was damaged, and took an English version of the Your Rolex Oyster booklet and put it together and sold it with that watch, and put it in that set, so to speak. And that's completely fine. Everyone does it as long as it's period correct, no harm done. However, the second thing is, you see here the warranty certificate. This warranty certificate obviously will only go with one watch and one watch only, because not only you have the reference number on here, you also have the serial number, which is hidden. And mind you, he stated that it was an F serial. And what I'm claiming, and this is a close-up of my warranty certificate, that he is also using my warranty certificate. You can see 3 dots here, you see some slight marks as well, and you see the sticker with the reference number that extends beyond the edge of the certificate, because this is a sticker that was put on. And to make a long story short, I'm 100% certain this is my certificate as well. And I could basically stop here. I confronted the guy and asked him, why the heck would you sell my certificate and my watch as a new old stock piece? And was like, I just mixed some stuff up. And I told him, listen, this is all super, super weird. I'm going to send you my watch back and I want my money back. And because at that point, it became clear that this was really, really funny business that was going on. And sure enough, the guy gave me my money back. So what I'm claiming that he did is the following. I'm claiming that he bought my watch, obviously, sent it to someone who did a very, very good polishing job, then bought some stickers from China, wherever else, I don't know, and stickered the watch and sold it as a new old stock piece. And you see some very light bubbles here on the stickers, beyond the stickers, below, I'm sorry. I mean, but nothing really too weird, right? So all good. But I mean, all good, nothing suspicious is what I want to say. So I'm claiming again, he got my watch, did a, polished it, put stickers on, and sold it as a new old stock piece. I could stop here, but I'm gonna show you some more quote unquote evidence. So that guy had more than one ad on Chrono24. These are all, mind you, ads that I had to store locally. I think this is the mobile version. Here at least I can click on the picture, and then there was a third ad, which is one picture. Long story short, what I'm claiming is that this is the same watch in all three pictures, and ultimately then also the watch that I sold him. And I'll show you why that's relevant in just a second. So this we already looked at. Here, these are the pictures from the second ad, right? I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay. Never mind, doesn't really matter. So these are all the pictures. Look at this picture right here, right? We're going to see that in a minute. Again, this is another picture we're going to look at. So these are all pictures from the second ad, right? And funny enough, that's the same thing that went on with the watch that he sold me. He had the green sticker on the back and then the see-through sticker on top of it. And he actually told me that he always opens the watch up and checks the movement, and I don't know, maybe even disassembles it. And so I told him, why would there be a see-through sticker when the reference is worn off and you actually also took out the movement? He was like, yeah, well, I know, I just put the sticker on. I did it myself. So why is this all relevant? If we look at this next picture, this is the same picture I just showed you. And look at the position of the crown, right? Now, the position of the crown on that picture is going to be the same as, bear with me, this is the wrong one. As on the first ad, okay? You'll see it here, okay? And even more so, and this is not so relevant, this is why I marked it in a different color. The time is slightly different, but he didn't even bother to change the date, so that's the same date. Now, for all you smart asses out there, I'm aware that the positioning of the crown on my watch is different than the positioning of his watch, but that's what happens if you remove the movement and you disassemble it. But why is this all relevant? Because if we agree that this watch is the same watch as we saw in the first ad that he's selling, and this is again the same one, then we can look at those screws that are part of the bracelet, and they are in the exact same position as the screws in my bracelet. So this is, to me, a further indication that this is indeed my watch. So what does this mean ultimately? I think it means three things, right? Number one, obviously this is super illegal. But if you do this, you have a money printing machine, you buy used watches, you give them a light polish, you put stickers on, and you sell them new old stock. Money printing machine, make a couple bands with every watch. Second of all, this has implications in the new old stock market, right? First of all, to the second point that I'm making, you have to be even more careful if you want to buy a new old stock watch. I mean that people actually use watches, send them to Rolex, take the stickers off, and sell them as unworn. This was common sense, right? But this to me is another level where you actually put stickers back on the watches that have been polished. And also, to some extent, you can question the premiums that are paid for new old stock pieces, because if you can basically replicate a new old stock condition like this, then you could question whether or not you should pay those premium. Me, myself, I think it's still justified because this is a real new old stock watch versus a, so to speak, fake new old stock watch. But there's probably other people that think differently. And you know, if you go back even further in time, thinking about real vintage Rolexes, I don't know, Paul Newmans and stuff like that, you know, they were talking big bucks. And finally, I think, you know, this is also something, and I was in touch with Chrono, I'm still waiting for them to get back to me, but I believe, you know, there needs to be more done on their side in terms of verification, basically, you know, vetting for a watch. I mean, they have this escrow account thing, but to me that's not sufficient. So maybe that the sellers must meet certain criteria in order to sell watches in a certain conditions. And you know, Chrono, they're charging quite hefty fees. I think, I mean, I'm aware for business sellers is probably different, but if you're a private individual, they charge 6.5% fee. They call it a small fee, but it's a big fee, right? Back in the day, they had a limit, I think, at 300 euros. Now that's gone. So if you sell a watch for 100K, they get 6,500 bucks in terms of fee. So in my opinion, there should be more done on their side. You know, using, I don't know, advisors, you know, experts on certain models, references. So anyway, that's the whole story. I wanted to share it with you. I hope you find it useful. Let me know what you think in the comments. Ask any questions you might have. I hope it was as clear as possible. And yeah, I hope you find it useful. And I'll see you hopefully in the next video.